I should have never taken the job. After my divorce, I needed space, solitude, somewhere far from reminders, expectations, people. So, when I saw the listing for a winter caretaker at the old Hartley Inn in Vermont, I applied before I even finished reading the description. All expenses paid, decent pay, and all I had to do was keep the place heated and make sure pipes didn't freeze. They even let me bring my dog, Juno. The place was massive. 4 stories of creaking floorboards, faded wallpaper, and hallways that seemed to stretch longer than they should. It had been a luxury lodge once, 100 years ago. Then it was a retirement home. Now it was just waiting. The owner, a polite but visibly exhausted man named Harold, gave me a quick tour before taking off. When we reached the 3rd floor, he lingered in front of room 313. "Don't bother with this one," he said. "Sealed shut, plumbing's bad, mold." His tone was too clipped, too final. I didn't question it at the time. The first week was uneventful. Juno adjusted well. I kept the fireplaces going, wandered the halls in the evenings, and caught up on reading. It was peaceful. Then the knocking started. At first, I thought it was the wind, maybe some wood settling, but it was always from the same place. A slow, deliberate knock, and 3 times. Around 2:13 a.m., every night, always coming from the 3rd floor. One night, I stood outside 313 when it happened. I had my phone recording in one hand, flashlight in the other. Juno growled low behind me, fur bristling. Knock, knock, knock. I swear I saw the door move. Just a fraction, enough to catch the eye. I replayed the recording over and over. It was faint, but there, unmistakable. 3 knocks and something else. Underneath the sound, like breathing. Wet, rattling. The next day, I called Harold. He didn't pick up. I left a message and tried to put it behind me, but then Juno disappeared. I woke up to the door wide open, snow blowing into the hallway. Her leash still hung by the coat rack. I searched every inch of the building. Outside, I found her tracks in the snow, leading into the woods. Then, nothing, like she just vanished mid-step. I cried harder than I had since the divorce. But even in my grief, part of me whispered, she didn't run away. Something took her. That night, I drank more than I should have and sat outside 313 with a crowbar. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that I needed closure, that I would open the door, find an empty room, and sleep for the first time in days. At 2:13, the knocking came again. I didn't hesitate. I forced the crowbar into the frame and pried. The door screamed as it cracked open. Dust spilled out in a wave, choking and thick. My flashlight cut through it, revealing a room untouched for decades. And then I saw her. She stood in the corner, face to the wall, hair hanging in long, wet ropes, a hospital gown, stained brown at the hem, bare feet. She didn't move. My flashlight flickered. I backed out, heart punching my ribs. "Ma'am," I whispered, though I don't know why. My voice cracked. She turned. Her eyes were gone, just raw, empty sockets. Her mouth twisted into an expression I can only describe as longing. And then she screamed, not with her mouth, but in my head. A shriek like nails dragging down every nerve in my body. I dropped the flashlight and ran. I don't remember the stairs. only that I ended up in the kitchen, door barricaded with a fridge. I waited until sunrise before venturing back upstairs. The door to 313 was closed again, sealed, like I'd imagined the whole thing. But I hadn't. In front of it was Juno's collar, wet, chewed through. I tried to leave that day, but the roads were snowed in. My phone, dead. I smashed a window in the lobby trying to escape, but it was like the house didn't want me gone. Every door I opened led to another hallway. Every stairwell twisted in ways that defied logic. I stayed locked in the lobby for 3 days, eating canned food and keeping a fire going. Every night she came closer. The knocks turned into scratching, then dragging. On the third night, I awoke to the sound of her whispering my name. She knew it. She knew me. When the snowplow finally came, I bolted barefoot through the drifts, bleeding, crying. The driver didn't say a word as I climbed in, just stared ahead. I never went back for my things. I spoke to Harold a week later. He sounded tired. She was a patient here, he admitted, back when it was a sanatorium. Died during electroshock therapy. They kept her body in 313 during a blizzard until help arrived. When they opened the door days later, she was still sitting up. I didn't reply. What could I say? I've moved south now. No more snow. No more inns. But sometimes, when the wind hits the windows just right, I swear I hear it. Knock, knock, knock. And when I check the door, sometimes, just sometimes, there's a wet footprint on the floor. I was a night shift DJ at a tiny AM radio station outside Phoenix. KPNX 680. A dying relic. Most of the staff had long since been laid off, and the building was as ancient as its equipment. Dusty reel-to-reel machines, a broken soda machine in the lobby, the constant hum of dying fluorescent bulbs. But I liked it. The loneliness, the quiet. I had a voice, and in the dark hours of the night, that was enough. The job was simple. Queue up oldies. Take the occasional call, in request. Keep the dead air to a minimum. It was around 12:30 a.m. when I got the first call. I just played Unchained Melody, and the switchboard lit up with a single blinking light. "Good evening," I said, flipping the mic off and picking up the receiver. "KPNX 680, you're on the air." A long pause, then a woman's voice. Soft, distant. "Please stop." "Stop?" I asked. "Stop what?" Another pause. "He hears you." Static followed, then a low click. Dead line. I sat there blinking at the console. Was it a prank? A weird listener? I shrugged and played another song. But then it happened again. Same time, 12:30 a.m. the next night. Same voice. "Please, stop playing it." My skin prickled. "Who is this?" "He doesn't like it." The line cut again. I tried calling back. Nothing. No number. No record of the call. I told myself it was a fan screwing around. Maybe someone with a ham radio. But her voice, it had weight. Like she was whispering from somewhere very, very far away. That weekend, I went digging through the old record library. I found a box labeled "Do Not Air." Curious, I popped it open. There, on top, was a dusty vinyl labeled "Test Press, October 11th, 1974, Session 9. No artist, no title. I played it. The moment the needle dropped, The room felt wrong. The music wasn't music. It was a sound, like a heartbeat buried in static. A slow, dragging pulse. Then came a voice, male, speaking low and rhythmic. I am waiting. I am beneath. I am always. My mouth went dry. I let it play for maybe 30 seconds before lifting the needle. The booth was ice cold. Later, I asked Bob, the station's old engineer, about it. He got quiet fast. We don't play that one, he muttered. The guy who recorded it died right after. In the booth. Heart attack. They said his face was. He shook his head. Just don't air it, okay? That night, I played it. I don't know why. Something compelled me, like the air itself leaned in, daring me. I waited until just past 12. Then I cued it. The heartbeat hissed through the speakers. The low chant returned. I am beneath. I am waiting. And the switchboard lit up. Every line. 6, 7, 8 blinking lights, all at once. I picked up one line. Hello? Silence. Another. Hello? A whisper faint. He's coming through. Then the lights died. Not just the board, all of them. The station went black. I sat there in the dark, hands shaking, ears straining. I could hear something behind the wall, something moving. Not a mouse, not wind, something dragging itself toward me. I turned to the booth window. I nearly screamed. There was a shape in the reflection, standing behind me, tall, featureless, its head just inches from mine. I spun around. Nothing there, but the room stank. Like wet earth, and the turntable still spinning. The record was still playing, even with the power off. I ripped the needle away and flung the record across the room. It shattered. The lights returned instantly. That was a month ago. I quit the next day, packed up and left town, but I still hear it. I took the job because I needed to disappear. A friend of a friend told me about the Lighthouse on Dagger Isle, off the coast of Maine. Remote. Isolated. No roads, no tourists, no internet. Just a cold sea and an old lighthouse that hadn't been automated yet. The previous keeper had vanished, left all his things behind, boots by the door, coffee still in the pot. Coast Guard said he probably fell into the sea. Happens more often than you'd think. That should have been a red flag. It wasn't. The pay was good, the solitude even better. I took the ferry out on a foggy morning. The captain didn't say much, just handed me a kerosene lamp and said, "Don't go up top after midnight." I laughed. He didn't. Dagger Isle was bleak. Wind-scoured rock, rusting iron railings, and the lighthouse, 30 feet of salt-stained stone with a rotating lens that groaned when it turned. Inside was dust and silence. A single bed, a stove, a spiral staircase that led up to the lantern room. I unpacked, lit the fire, and told myself it would be good, peaceful. The first night, I woke to footsteps, heavy ones, coming down the spiral stairs, one slow step at a time. I froze. There shouldn't have been anyone else on the island. The footsteps stopped just outside my room. I held my breath. Then they turned and retreated, step by step, back up the stairs. I told myself it was the wind. Old stone and metal. They make noise, settle, echo. But the next night, it happened again. Same steps. Same silence outside my door. So I waited the next night with the lamp lit, knife in hand. I heard them again. Step, step, step. Closer, then silence. I opened the door. No one, but the air was ice cold. The hallway smelled like seawater and rust. I looked up the staircase and saw a figure in the lantern room. Just a shape, standing still, hands on the glass. I climbed. Each step creaked. The air got colder. The smell stronger. When I reached the top, the lantern room was empty. But there, written in the condensation on the inside of the glass, were 3 words. He never left. I stared, heart hammering. Then something behind me whispered, "And neither will you." I turned fast. Nothing. The stairs behind me were clear. I slept downstairs after that, kept the lamp burning through the night, tried to convince myself it was isolation getting to me. Until I found the journal, tucked behind a loose stone in the wall. A leather-bound logbook, yellowed pages filled with neat, obsessive handwriting. It belonged to the last keeper. He'd been hearing the footsteps too, every night, always stopping at the same spot. Only in his case, they didn't stop. They started following him. He wrote about reflections in the glass that didn't match his own, about cold hands brushing his face in the dark. His last entry simply said, "I see him in the mirror now. I think he wants to trade." I tried to leave the next morning. Radio was dead. Boat never came. The sky stayed gray for 3 days straight. The sea never calmed. On the 4th night, I fell asleep at the desk. Candle burned low. I woke up to breathing. Not mine. I opened my eyes and saw him. A man, or something that once was, standing by the window. Skin pale and bloated, like it had soaked in seawater too long. His eyes were white, and they were locked on mine. I tried to scream, but my throat locked. He stepped closer, water dripping from his sleeves. Then he leaned in and whispered, "Your turn." I blacked out. When I woke up, it was morning. The room was dry, empty, the windows shut, but the spiral staircase was wet. Each step beaded with salt water. That was 3 nights ago. Since then, I've stopped sleeping, because I've seen what happens if I do. He comes closer each time. Sometimes, I see him reflected in the lantern glass, even when I'm alone. Sometimes, he stands in my place as the lens turns, staring down at the sea. And last night, I heard my own voice, calling out from the top of the tower, begging, screaming, trying to warn me. But it was too late, because I'm not sure anymore that I'm the one still inside.